I'm Christopher Assaro, president of Holt Construction. I'm proud to announce that the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, in partnership with American Airlines, URW Airports, has announced a $125 million commercial redevelopment of JFK's Terminal 8. As the project's construction partner, Holt Construction is pleased to partner with URW to introduce our new information and technical assistance program designed to connect you to opportunities available across the 24-month redevelopment of Terminal 8, all part of the Port Authority's $19 billion airport redevelopment program that is transforming New York's airport system. Working with our partners at the Port Authority, American Airlines, URW, and Phoenix Infrastructure, we have designed a special series of programs that will help you learn more about the project, the business and contracting opportunities that are right for your company, and how your business can participate. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to partnering together.
Participating in construction projects at an airport presents a distinct experience compared to conventional construction sites. Our session today, How to Work in the Airport, has been divided into 2 sessions. Today's session aims to help subcontractors understand the essential elements and terms that apply to working within an airport. Our next session on September 14th will examine the importance of safety on projects as it relates to working both landside and airside at an airport facility. This session encompasses information about insurance based on location and clientele, badging components and associated criteria, explanation of terms like AOA, SIDA, and decoding other airport acronyms. Additionally, you will better understand parking arrangements and strategies for managing personnel access to the terminals. Our second session will also delve into equipment standards, licensing, communication protocols, and other topics that will help you work more efficiently on airport projects. Let's begin with our team of panelists. Today we have Jeff.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Correa, General Superintendent for Holt Construction in New Jersey.
Next we have Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sanchez. I'm an Assistant Project Manager.
Then we have Wendy.
Hi, I'm Wendy Bullock, and I'm a Safety Officer for Holt.
And last but not least, we have Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle Keene. I'm a Senior Contract Administrator for Holt.
Sarah, what is SIDA and what does it stand for?
So SIDA is your port card, and it stands for Security Identification Display Area. Each airport has its own SIDA card design. There currently are 3 SIDA colors, red, which stands for secured area, blue, which stands for sterile area, and green for people who work in the snow.
Thank you, Sarah. Jeff, what areas of an airport are considered landside?
So landside is basically the exact opposite of the AOA, which we call airside. So as airside is 100% secured, landside is unsecured, or basically the area before you go through a TSA checkpoint or a Port Authority checkpoint.
And then are there any other acronyms that we might come across, and can you explain some of them that are used the most?
There are tons of acronyms. CBP, which is Customs and Border Protection, TSA, Transportation Security Administration, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey is another one. There's a litany. FAA is another big one here at the airport.
Thank you, Jeff. So let's move on to some badging information. Sarah, can you explain the badging process at the airport?
So yes, for employees, there are 5 simple steps. The first step is the application submission. Then there is the second step, which is fingerprinting. Once fingerprinting is done, then there's a background check, which employees normally will receive a link via email. They will fill out their personal background information. Once background check has been completed, then we would proceed with training. And then there is a test after the training. And then once the test has been completed and passed, then the applicant can pick up their SIDA card.
And do you have to have a badge to work at the airport?
So no, you really don't need one. There is a system called escorting, but we do recommend all of the subcontractors to get their CITA card, just because it'll open up doors for future work.
And then you mentioned escorting. So when is escorting needed? And does the GC provide the escorts, or is that the sub's responsibility?
So normally GCs would provide the escort. Escort is normally needed when the person does not have a CITA card and needs to enter the airport in the AOA or in the sterile area. Normally, there is a Port Authority rule that it is 5-person to 1 escort. Now, if you are coming with a vehicle and require a vehicle escort, then it would be a 2-vehicle per escort.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. So we get a lot of questions about parking while working at the airport. Jeff, if a sub gets awarded, how is employee parking handled?
Normally, the subs are on their own with the parking. What most of them do is carpool, and then they'll go to one of the pay lots, and then they'll use the shuttle buses to come in to get to the job site. But we don't have construction parking here. On the bigger projects, like when they were constructing the new Terminal A here in Newark, they had parking for the construction workers, but it was really short-lived. It was parking, and as soon as that building was open, there was no more parking. You had to go to the pay lots.
And then where do the employees park? You mentioned outside and then the specific lots. And how do they get to the terminal from those areas?
So there's a whole economy that was shaped up by the airport here in Newark, and I'm sure that it's the same in New York, whereas people have opened private parking lots in the highways immediately surrounding the airport, where they run shuttle buses 24 hours a day. So we have both on-site and off-site parking here, but they're both pay. And if you go off-site, it's significantly cheaper than the on-site parking.
Thank you. Danielle, we have some insurance questions for you. So insurance requirements are the same regardless of the project's location?
So Holt has standard insurance requirements of subcontractors, and they typically do not change based on a project location. There are certain situations where a client may have different requirements for coverage, in which case we'll let subcontractors know that at the time of bidding.
Okay, and then what types of insurances are usually required for airport specific projects?
For very large airport specific projects, we sometimes see an owner provided OSIP or CSIP program in place for on-site insurance coverage. And in those cases, participation in those programs will be required. If it's a smaller airport job, Holt standard insurance requirements would apply, and those are a $1 million general liability policy, a $1 million automobile liability policy, a $1 million workers' compensation policy, and a $5 million umbrella requirement.
And then you mentioned OSIP and CSIP. Can you explain why some projects are OSIP and CSIP and what exactly an OSIP and CSIP program is?
Sure. So these plans are sometimes also referred to as wrap-up insurance. OSIP stands for Owner-Controlled Insurance Program, and CSIP stands for Contractor-Controlled Insurance Program. These two programs operate very similarly, and they essentially just provide on-site liability coverage across all parties on a particular project. The difference between the two in the names is that project owner manages an OSIP and contractors typically manage a CSIP.
Thank you, Danielle. So safety is a big topic. So Wendy, what are some of the individual requirements for employees working on airport projects regarding to safety?
So you're at the minimum required to have a 40-hour SST card, which is comprised of a few different courses that you can take. To get those do require you to pay for those courses, whether it's the worker or whether the company's paying for it themselves. Now Newark only requires the 10 or the 30-hour OSHA course, so competent people are required to have the OSHA 30, but any workers under them they just need the OSHA 10.
Okay, and then is there a difference between safety requirements at the airport versus non-airport locations?
Most definitely, because most of the time you're going to be working airside at an airport, which means that You're gonna have to undergo the background checks. There's stringent security in place as well. So you're gonna need to comply with aviation specific regulations due to the critical infrastructure that you're gonna be working in and the potential impact that could have on air travel. Especially if you're, airside, that means that you're already behind the gates where the public is going to be walking by as well, which is why it's very important to the Port Authority that you let them know what tools you're going to be bringing onto the job site, because every one of them has to be accounted for. They don't want someone that's about to board a plane to have access to a screwdriver or a hammer or anything that could be used as a weapon to end up on a plane to injure someone else or just themselves. So that's important. Also, hot works permits, anything generating sparks are required. You're required to obtain those permits well in advance of anything you'd be doing that could cause a fire. And you also have to be careful which doors that you go out of. Going out the wrong door can result in a BOR, which is a breach of regulation, and you could be banned from working at the airport indefinitely. So those are all things that that workers, have to be careful of, and always ask if you're not sure of something.
Thank you. And then what are the emergency procedures for airport work, and how do they differ from non-airport projects?
Well, for a non-airport project, if you have an emergency, you're going to dial 911 immediately. But if you're working at the airport and you dial 911, they're not going to be able to find you. You're going to have to dial the Port Authority police, and they'll be able to locate you a lot faster than any outside police forces would be able to.
So we get a lot of questions about back office and how our back office supports the teams. Why is back office support so essential to working on aviation projects? Well, a well-structured organization and proficient back office support system are pivotal in driving project success. The organization framework establishes the foundation for efficient workflow, clear communication, and streamlined processes. Proper division of task roles and responsibilities ensures that the project operates smoothly and cohesively. Meanwhile, back office support serves as the project's backbone, handling administrative tasks, documentation, coordination, and resource management behind the scenes. This enables the frontline teams to focus on their core tasks without being burdened by administrative complexities. The synchronized efforts of an organized structure and effective back office support contribute synergistically to the project's triumph by fostering collaboration, enhancing efficiency, and enabling swift adaptation to evolving project needs. And this is why the back office support and all of our teams across the board, GC and subs, is very, very important. So thank you to our great team for giving an in-depth look at our airport construction. And now let's answer some audience questions. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So we have a couple of questions that we got in the chat. So the first question, Sarah, is do cited badges have the same weight as the SWAC cards that are going to be used at JFK?
No. So SWAC is completely different. It's always a plus to have a SWAC card, but CITA is a must. I'm just looking for my CITA. So this is what CITA, each airport has one. And that is basically what is needed in order to get into the airport past the TSA checkpoint. You need the card to swipe through doors, which SWAC would be useless here.
So when does an employee use a SWAC? What is SWAC for specifically? Sarah?
We can provide those details if, just through the info T8 at rfwconsultants.com. We can give you, detailed description of when that can be used. with the details.
Okay. Next question we have is, will the sub have access to the plan holders list of the GCs that are bidding on the concessions, or a direct access, excuse me, to the merchants? So this question, I would suggest you reach out to the info T8 at rfwconsultants.com email in regards to the tenant and their GC and the opportunities regarding concessions. They can give you a better answer than I can today. So next question is, should you get these licenses prior to getting a contract or wait until a bid is approved? I'm assuming that is for the safety licenses that Wendy spoke about. Wendy, can you please answer that question?
Definitely. They definitely need to do that in advance. Especially, you know, the OSHA certification is essential, because if you're gonna have competent people, we do need a competent person from you, and for you to name that competent person, they're required to have the OSHA 30 beforehand, before they step foot on the site. Anyone under them, OSHA 10, and an alternate competent person as well, with OSHA 30.
Okay. Next question we have is, how do we get invited to bid for subcontracting work? So again, you can reach out to the info T8 at rfwconsultants.com. Just say that you are interested on bidding on some of the opportunities available. If you're interested with Holt, same thing, just reach out to them, ask them about the pre-qual, they'll send us your information. If you're interested on the concession side with the concession and their tenants, they can direct you to the correct persons. Do we need to have an active contract at the airport to apply for the SITA card? Sarah, this one's for you.
Yeah, so you would need a sponsorship letter, which Holt would be able to provide. If you don't have that sponsorship letter, there's no way that you can start the process. Port does require some type of proof stating that you have an active contract here. So if you do, win the bid, just reach out to Holt, and Holt will start that process and email you guys the sponsorship letter that you will use to send over to Port, and then Port will give you guys the actual application to start the process for vetting your company and what type of access you'll be required to have, and so forth.
Thank you. Someone wants us to email them these certificates. I'm assuming that is for safety. So if you just reach out to the info T8 email, what RFW will do is they'll let us know exactly which certifications you want to discuss. We can have Wendy or someone from our safety department reach out to you directly to kind of go through that process and explain what each certificate is. Do you need any special security clearance to work at the airport? Sarah?
So once you do have your company in the Port system, Port will obviously grant you, whether if it's a red card, a blue card, in order to work at the terminal. So it just depends on what area you'll be working. If you guys need to work outside, like in the AOA area where the planes are at, that would require a red card. If it's just internal inside the building, then it might just be a blue card. But Port Authority will basically let you know which one you qualify for, depending on the job scope.
Next question is, what email do you contact to see the current status of Holt pre-qualification application? So if you already started the process with us, you currently have my, Noelle, and Jessica's email. So if you do have a question and we've already spoken to you regarding the pre-qual, you could just reach out to us. What we'll do is we can get in touch with Danielle as well if there are specific items that you are questioning or need assistance with. Next question is, do I need to provide airport security with a list of my workers who will be on site for each day of the project? Sarah?
I mean, we would prefer that Holt knows who's going to be here. If you have SITA at Terminal 8, because Terminal 8, it's its own building, under American Airlines. They have their own security who will grant access for those who have SITA cards. So it is important that we know who's coming in on a day-to-day basis, where they need to go. That way LSOC, which is a security division here at Terminal 8, can grant them access to the doors, because it's kind of uncomfortable. Your guys want to work and they try swiping through a door, but they don't have access. So we try to coordinate as best as we can. So we do require to have those names. Obviously, we know that people get sick, or we have people getting transferred to different jobs, replacements. So we do like to have a full list of, who's going to be here on a month-to-month basis, just so we have control.
Thank you, Sarah. Next question we have, are there any guidelines I need to share with my staff as they're working in the airport? Are there areas that are off limits? So best thing I can tell you is you're working at an airport. Security is very important. You have to make sure that your staff is aware that they are working while there are passengers. It's going to be in and out. Same thing. You want to be respectful of the passengers. You want to be respectful of the other airport employees, as well as, yes, there's always going to be areas that are off limits. Again, like Sarah said, when you send us that list, the GCs will normally tell you which areas the work is in and what areas we'll have access to. Like she mentioned, LSAC will also let us know in regards to what routes to take, what doors we can get access to in order for you guys to get to that specific area of work. Next question is, how can I best communicate with my workers while they're at the airport? So again, communication is key. I would suggest, just from a company-wise, make sure that you have all the employees' contact information, whether it's their cell phone number or email. However you communicate with your employees on a daily basis, you should continue to do that. I'm assuming everybody's got a super, foreman, and so forth. Usually that's your contact person, and then they will talk to the site personnel. Will there be construction site safety contract bidding? Again, that is a good question. If you email us at info.t8@rwconsultants.com, we can get you all the information regarding the project in general. And then before getting any contract, do I need insurance? Or after getting the contract, we can do insurance? Danielle, this one's for you.
We definitely encourage you to have your insurance in place before you get a contract. You want to build that cost of insurance into your bid. We encourage you to get pre-qualified as a first step of doing work with Holt. And at that point, our insurance broker will be able to review your current coverage or coverage you're thinking about getting and let you know if it's approved.
Perfect. So we don't have any more questions in the Q&A. However, if you guys do have questions that you would like to ask the team, again, I'm going to repeat it. info.t8@rwconsultants.com. Send all your questions to that email. They will direct it to the correct parties. And then from there, we'll be able to get you the answers that you need.